2025 was the year I finally answered the call.
This is where it all started.
The same street, the same dreams. So guys, it's currently 10 p.m. here in Portugal, in one of the worst streets, I would say, in Portugal and in Europe. And my mom used to live here all throughout her childhood, you know, surrounded by drugs, surrounded by chaos. And it's crazy, she saw friends die because of drugs. You know, she used to live in this cave, like you need to go 200 stairs down, and that's exactly where she lives. And it's crazy for me, you know, how my mom, you know, managed to live out of this place. You know, it's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life, and I'm feeling so many emotions right now. You know, truly came from the bottom. And yeah, she's been working since she was 13 years old to grind, to put food in the table for our family. And yeah, also my dad is also my biggest inspiration, my idol. You know, when I was 11 years old, he went 5 years to work in construction in Africa to put food in the table. And you know, that taught me a lot of stuff since I was a little, you know. Everything was never easy, you know. And yeah, looking back to these moments, like it's special because again, this is the story that one day I'm gonna tell. You know, it was very hard to not be with my mom, to not be with my dad. And it's crazy now coming back at my mom's place, like it's truly miserable, guys. And yeah, like this just gives me more fire inside of me to give everything inside of me, to go all in on entrepreneurship, to go all in on changing people's lives, travel the world, making cool shit, impact millions of lives and documenting the journey for you boys. Mas por acaso, do fundo do coração, eu gostava mesmo de ver o sítio onde a minha mãe viveu. Ok, muito obrigado. Ai, mano, isto aqui está-me a trazer. Fogo, que cena, né? Por acaso. A minha mãe dormia ali.
Não,
Pois, a minha...
Os avós é que era, as miúdas acho que era aqui na sala.
Same room, same ceiling, different men. I used to dream of escaping this place. I thought leaving would make me someone. Now I came back to remember who I am. This room saw my fears, my struggles, my hunger. And it reminds me that nothing was ever given to me. You don't escape your past by running from it. You escape it by rewriting it.
I wasn't born to be normal. I had 2 months to make $10,000, not to flex, but to help my family. So I burned the boats, no plan B, just belief and the fear of going home as a failure. No one really talks about the nights you sit alone at 3 in the morning working in your business, questioning every single decision, wondering if you're crazy, with no one to call because no one understands you or your vision. It was just me, every single fucking day, fighting my own mind. At 18, I left everything behind. My family, my comfort, my country. I landed in America with $62 and a heart full of belief. Looking back, it's crazy. When I used to play college tennis in America, when it would come spring break or fall break, all my friends would go back to their parents' house, to their countries, or they would just go to Miami to have fun. And you know, because I was broke, because I had no money, I had to stay in that shitty college dorm. And the cafeteria was always closed, you know, during that time. So I could only eat 1 meal a day and it was breakfast and I couldn't afford it. So the one thing I'll do is I'll go to a breakfast place, which was like 10-15 minute walk. And one of the ladies that used to work there, a waiter, like she was making like what, 30 euros, $40 a day. And she would take the money that she would get from her tips and pay me my breakfast every single day for weeks. And you know, that helped me survive during those very hard times when I was back in the trenches, you know, cleaning windows in America. And, you know, those are the type of shit that I'll never forget, you know, that type of kindness, that type of, you know, helping people when their back is against the wall. You know, I'll never forget that type of stuff. And one day I'll be back to that place and give her more than she could ever imagine. I was knocking on 200 doors a day, getting screamed at, doors slammed in my face, police called on me just for trying. Everyone told me to relax, be normal, get a degree. But I realized something. That season didn't make me lonely. It built the foundation.
2 days before our first ever family trip, my mom had a heart attack. It was one of the hardest moments in my life, you know. The airline didn't refund us the money back. My mom and my dad, all through their lives, they saved money from their jobs that, you know, when my father used to work in Africa, my mom working 3 jobs all their life, we were never able to leave Europe, to leave Portugal. And they put all their effort, all their savings into that trip. And 2 days before, the unexpected happened. But on one side, I'm thankful to God that it happened, because imagine what would happen if we were on the plane, you know what I mean? And since that day marked this shit in my mind forever. You know, I promised myself that I would return my parents, that I would travel the world, that I wouldn't regret a single fucking thing in this life. Because, you know, life is tomorrow, I might be dead. You know what I mean? So that's why every single day you need to wake up and give your best for your family, for the people around you. And this was the moment that marked truly my mind, my heart. And I'm thankful that she's alive and with me today. But yeah, that trip to the Dominican Republic, I will buy one day to my mom and to my dad in the next couple months. Mark my words, if you're here following the journey, I will buy that trip back to the Dominican Republic, and I will give them the life they should have had, but they never had, because they sacrificed everything for us. Then Bali happened. For the first time in my life, I wasn't alone anymore. I found people who understood the pressure. I found people who understood the ambition, who understood the nights grinding, where nobody would understand your vision, where nobody thought that you were fucking crazy. And we weren't chasing the money, we were chasing meaning, brotherhood, growth, and freedom.
It reminded me I'm far from my potential, that the dream got bigger, that this journey isn't about making it. It's about becoming who you were meant to be.
In September of 2025, this year, I made $10,000 in 2 weeks. It wasn't about the money. It was proof that I wasn't crazy. It was proof that all those nights I spent alone in my college dorm, in that shitty apartment, where I was eating 1 meal a day, and I couldn't even pay for that meal. A lady that was a waiter had to help me to pay for that meal. It was all this proof of all those crazy businesses, everyone laughing at me. There was the proof. But then I also got a bit comfortable. So I had to come back to I had to come back to the ocean to remind myself why I started this, why I'm actually doing this, and why I'm pushing myself every single fucking day to become the best version of myself, to help my parents, to travel the world and have all these incredible memories. I don't want to look back on time and regret anything.
Abra uma preta.
Oh, verdade.
Não nada.
Muito obrigada, amigo.
Every sleepless night, every, you know, knocking doors 200 doors a day to get rejected every single fucking time, you know, it was damn worth it. You know, it's the reason why I do it, you know, to make them proud, to give them back, you know, the life they never had because they sacrificed everything. So yeah, now they're going to a hotel, to their favorite restaurant, have, you know, an incredible experience, giving them the life they deserve. And yeah, it's worth it. It's damn worth it. The pain, the struggle that you're going through, you know, in order to get to where you want to be. You know, most people just want the feeling, but they're not willing to do the work. But I know, since I was a little, that you need to go through the pain, through the struggle, through the perseverance and consistency to get to this position, to help and to give back. So yeah, having a great fucking time. Let's get it.
Entrepreneurship isn't about money. Money doesn't cure loneliness. Purpose does. People do. I'm a true believer that when we're 80 years old, laying down in our deathbed, what we'll remember are the connections we made, the lifelong friendships, and the experiences we had with the people we like, care, and respect the most. There is nothing better when you're in your deathbed than to look back and remember the moments that you had with your boys, you know, at 2, 3 a.m., talking about new, stupid business ideas, talking shit to each other, having the best time, creating lifelong friendships, and making adventures all over the world. Because what's the point of all this, you know? Because nowadays in the entrepreneurship world, everyone wants the view from the top of the mountain, but no one is willing to go through the climb. And I remember, I constantly remind to myself every single day, this is the story that one day I'll tell to my kids, to my grandkids, to my father, to my mother. You know, most people didn't want to go through cleaning windows, knocking on 200 doors every single day. But I knew that that's the story that one day I will tell. The hero doesn't just get to the top of the mountain, he has to go through the climb. And you need to be willing to sacrifice every single day for you, for your family, for your friends, so then you can have that life that you've always dreamed of. So yeah, when you're 80 years old, this is what you'll remember. Connections, relationships, and the experiences you had all over the world. 2025 was the biggest year of my life, but something is still missing. Because this is just the beginning. There is more to build, more lives to impact, more faith to find. If you're building alone, you don't have to anymore.